On to the main feature. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. I'm just going to pass the buck on this one to Monty because this is totally your wheelhouse, man. Go for it.
Okay. Ready, go.
I do things with like a duck landing. You know, like ducks. I don't know if you knew this. Ducks, they have their eyes like on the side of their head and they can't look down when they land. So when they're landing, they're just like, oh, am I there yet? Am I there yet? And then boom, they hit the water. And that's usually how I end things. So
So, is anybody here SEO experts?
Not expert, but I'm aware of it.
Okay.
Aware.
Halfway knowledgeable?
Yeah.
Have a decent understanding? All right. So, I'll walk you through a little bit of SEO stuff too, to frame this up. So, as you all know, or you probably know, writing articles has traditionally been on your personal profiles. They've now added that button to your corporate page profile as well. So you can write full articles, full blogs, all through your company page on LinkedIn. Why that's important is because articles are the only thing that Google will pick up from LinkedIn and register on their search engine. So they don't, anytime you post, Google doesn't pick it up or anything else. They pick up basically that you have a profile. They'll register your profile. So that's the second thing, I guess. But then from a content standpoint, articles are the only thing.
mm-hmm.
So traditionally, articles on LinkedIn suck. They're considered long form content, and nobody wants it. Nobody's going to take the time to read that. It has to be ultra targeted and for a very specific reason and purpose, and you're trying to get a specific person to kind of read it. But if you can apply some search engine optimization tactics to it, you can get massive views to articles. So I have seen articles get 500,000, some over 1 million views.
That's insane.
And how that works is if you can write an article that Google will pick up that is shown on the first page of the search. So whether that be question related, a specific keyword that has high volume search or higher volume search, if you can show up in the top 3 spots on the first page of that search item, you're going to get, it will register that on the search engine, and all those clicks go back to LinkedIn and to the article. So it'll register your views there. And then if you're just continuing to get more engagement to that article, LinkedIn will continue to push it. So articles live forever on LinkedIn, whereas posts have a shelf life of a few hours.
Monty, is the same for personal articles and company page articles from a Google standpoint? It is the same. Okay.
Yep. But they've never had this for company pages. So now, strategy that I'm employing with our clients is that when we're working with a company from an SEO standpoint, looking at their website content, we can repurpose that content and put it on their company page, not as a duplicate article from their website, but we'll change it up a little bit, put it as an article on their company page, and then link it to the full article on their website. So what that's going to do is create a high value backlink because it's coming from LinkedIn back to your website. So you'll improve the SEO of the company's website just simply by doing that.
That was going to be my next question. How do you tie that in with the website?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how you tie it into the website is you write the full article on the website, have that be the primary resource. Then you write an article that's almost post-like, right? That has its own title and that has a version of that content that's narrative based, that calls out specific components of that article. And then what the call to action is, view the full article here with the link, and then you can link that back to your website.
Do you know, Monty, if Google gives LinkedIn articles a little extra juice because they're on LinkedIn?
No.
No. Okay.
No, they don't. But you really want to be careful about duplicating. You don't want to just straight duplicate the content from your website over to LinkedIn because now it's available. Because
what do you mean by that?
So let's say you have one of your clients has a website and they have 25 articles, 25 blogs on their website, right? Mm-hmm. Those are already registered by Google, right? Mm-hmm. They're already categorized and part of their search engine. So if you take that article, copy and paste it, and then drop it on LinkedIn, Google will then register that as duplicate content.
Gotcha.
I've been hearing from SEO people, though, that is not an issue. Multiples have been saying that.
Let me chime in because I had this experience. I've mentioned it before, but so duplicate content is not like there's not like a penalty, but Google doesn't want to show the same exact stuff in search results twice because it's like, why would you do that? So it's the linchpin is, what do I show? Do I show the LinkedIn article? Do I show the content from your actual company website? Mm-hmm. So my experience was I had a page that ranked really well for a knowledge query about like what does found you via profile mean or whatever from on LinkedIn. Still gets like a lot of traffic. Months later, I rewrote it. I literally rewrote it, but it was still similar. Published the article. I was at the zoo with my family. We were like bored for a minute, pulled up my analytics, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what tanked? Looked at Search Console and realized that the article that I published was swapped out with my LinkedIn article, swapped out with my website article. And then it was just like a day or two later. I was like, oh crap. So I deleted the LinkedIn article, and the next day my company page post was there. Does that make sense? So keep that in mind.
Are you forcing it to Search Console? Because sometimes you can request an index. It depends on how often they're doing it.
You don't own LinkedIn, so Google's going.
Your blog article, were you forcing that out in Search Console to say, hey, index this?
No, the article had been live for months.
Okay.
You're getting lots of traffic for months. It was like ranked number like 2 or 3, for a long time, and then boom, it just swapped it out because it was similar enough. So again, the problem, it's not like you get a penalty. It's if you're going to be using a company, if you're going to be using an article, be mindful of that. Like, keep an eye on it, because you don't want to. If you already got your company website's already ranking, in my opinion, they would be superior to a LinkedIn article because of the info you can capture. But just keep an eye on it there if you do that. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Now, if it's a straight carbon copy, Google's gonna take the one that's already been registered in search.
Monty, oh my gosh. What if can we just like hijack content here? Like, could you as a company do some knowledge queries and see, which articles or whatever is ranking well? Take that copy and rewrite it yourself, put your own spin on it, publish it as a company article, and then maybe take what I just said that I don't want to happen to me and do it to somebody else.
You mean on SEO, on a Google search? You mean?
Talking about in search results, yeah.
Yeah. So how Content SEO works is if any search term, any search phrase, any question, right? Google wants to bring up the best resource, the best answer, and the most complete answer, if you would, for whatever that search is. So if you want to rank any article or if you want to rank any content, you just have to create a better resource. Now that's difficult to do because there's a lot of SEO experts out there that know how to create content very well for SEO for exactly how Google wants it, from its structure to its meta tags and how, all that other kind of stuff. But the best SEO that you can do is go do research on keywords, key phrases, so on and so forth, and find searches that have content that's not very complicated or very complete. So if you can create a better resource for that content, you will rank above whatever it is. And so there's all kinds of things that come with SEO too. They've got snippets. Can you get into the snippets? Questions. Can you get, the primary answer for the questions?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So there's all kinds of stuff, from content SEO. And by the way, content SEO really is the primary SEO that you want to focus on doing. The other is just your HTML and programming structure. But in terms of, can you hijack it? I mean, technically, if you create a better resource, if you create a better resource, you can always overcome any other content that's out there. So, Rusty,
Yeah, quick question for you. Any advice on going back and recapturing? Let's say we wrote 50 articles over the last year and we simply just link to those on our personal page or our company page. Would you potentially now go back and maybe cleanse some of that older content and put it out there anew?
Good question.
I would go back and update that content because you're going to refresh it, right? And Google wants fresh content. And keep in mind that, Google really is very similar to LinkedIn and all these other social platforms. They want fresh content out there all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're creating a better resource and it's new, it's up to date, you're going to win. So take all the content that you have on your clients' websites and make sure that you don't have anything that's like 6 months old. I mean, just continue. And it's not very difficult to do. You do exactly what Isaac just said he did, and you just kind of rewrite it, use different words to say the same thing, choose a different headline, add a different photo, add another resource to it, like a video, that kind of thing. And all of a sudden you've got a brand new piece of content that you really didn't have to do much for.
You say keep the same URL? Don't change the URL, just refresh.
Don't change the URL, no.
Okay. And if, let's say you've written a new post directly on LinkedIn or a new article directly on LinkedIn and you want to promote that personally, would you link back to that article now as opposed to linking back to, say, your blog?
Well, you have to really, when it comes down to the content that you put on LinkedIn as opposed to the content that you put on your website, you really have to figure out what is the best strategy based on the audience that I'm getting, right? So with articles, you can have those very focused and very specific to an audience, and you get to see the analytics of that. So if it's something that you're wanting to point directly to a target market, I would definitely do that on LinkedIn. I encourage, so from an SEO standpoint, if you guys look at your clients or have the ability to look at your clients' analytics, 95% of the traffic is going to go to their homepage and nowhere else. Mm-hmm. I tend to direct clients to be very specific and action-oriented with their websites. Get all the information that they absolutely must have on that homepage. Like if you have 30 seconds, which is typically all you get on a website, if I have 30 seconds to communicate a message just like your personal profile, I want to make sure that you understand the problem I solve and who I solve it for immediately. And then there needs to be a call to action that you're going to engage with me on that homepage. from a content stamp in a B2B space, and that's all we're talking about here, by the way. In the B2B space, if you're going to do content and you want it to be highly focused and targeted to your audience, I prefer LinkedIn, because I'm going to drive the traffic to the website off of LinkedIn anyway. I can get significantly more views and stuff like that from LinkedIn than I will ever get organically off of my website. And so when I am driving people using my corporate page back to my website, then there again, I want to be very specific in terms of the call to action and the funnel, if you would, in terms of you giving something to you or getting your information. Because the only downside to LinkedIn content is that you get to see, unless they comment or put a like, you're only getting to see titles, right, in the analytics. But if they go to your website, that's where I want my conversion to happen. So I am not really concerned about companies' content. I prefer to drive all of our content for clients through the social channels, because it's relationship driven and I can get a higher volume engagement through it. I only have the content that's informational based and that provides them with the necessary information that they need to be able to make a decision to contact me through the website.
I have a question for you.
The argument to that, sorry, one second. The argument to that is that, well, LinkedIn can take your account away anytime they want to. And that's true. But you can also have that content reside back and forth and just change it up. Isaac, go.
So if you're putting a company, actually, let me back up a little bit. I can see how for a larger organization, previously where only an employee could write an article and all the benefits we're talking about with articles, the employee is going to come and go and they take their material with them. You know, that's like kind of a major bummer. So I almost I could see big organizations not even caring about incentivizing their employees to write an article, because it's not the organization's property. It's the person, right?
Well, not when you're writing it on the company page.
Exactly. It's a big tectonic shift there. So I could see larger organizations, especially like if it's 1 or 2 or 3 people, the owner is going to write the content. That's kind of all they're thinking about. But when you're like more enterprise level, now it's a whole different ball game for the marketing department, because now the articles are sticky. They stay with the organization as employees come and go, doubles over with their content strategy on their website. So I could see a whole lot of value. My question for you would be, when larger companies are using company articles, what's the best way to take all that additional traffic and actually direct it towards a call to action or conversion action, so that it's more than just impressions and engagement, which is valuable? But do you have any advice as far as like what you say in the copy, links? What do you think?
Yeah, so this is where marketing needs to work really, really closely with sales, which is what we find is a challenge and doesn't happen a lot within organizations. Marketing doesn't play well with sales. So if you can get your marketing to engage with that sales process, understanding, all right, what's the feedback the salesperson are getting? What are people complaining about? What are the challenges that they're having to overcome for sales? You know, understanding those components, writing articles towards that stuff. Okay, towards each of those things, if you can put together content that answers that or that overcomes that for the salesperson, now you've given the salesperson a resource. Okay, so that resource then the salespeople can use. Hey, check out this article. They can almost preempt those debates that they're going to have with clients or prospective clients when they do it. Okay.
It's like walking into a warm lead, right? They already
Exactly.
know what your core offering is. They already
right.
have some sort of a voice to your company. That's
Yes.
the hope.
Now, the other thing is leads, that you're going to be dealing with are much more likely to go to engage and interact with your social content than they are your website content. So because those articles live there forever, they can easily go out and take a look at the articles that you have, right? So that will overcome all of that as well. So I want companies to focus primarily on what is the content that's going to help your salespeople be more efficient and more effective and draw more business into themselves, right? Because they can not only share it to their own personal profiles, they can share it in direct messaging. So it's a huge value add because it helps start engagement in conversations.
What about doing let's say the company does an article, gets a lot of traction internally on the platform, it's ranking in search, and so you're getting people that are doing like a knowledge query or whatever from Google. Maybe they are or are not logged in. They're going to that page. It's not your company website. I'm wondering if we could include in the copy somewhere in there, like get them off of that article to the website to do an email opt-in.
Yeah,
Or
I'm sorry, I actually didn't answer your question, did I? How do you get them over to those call to actions? Put your really long form content on your website. So long form content is going to be, if you create a resource that has an infographic, has pictures, has videos on it, has bulleted lists, it almost up at the top, it'll have, here's what's in this article, and it'll bullet list all those items out, and you can jump down to the specific ones in that article. That is a complete resource for people. Okay, so put all of that on your website. Take all of those smaller components to that, think of it as an outline, so to speak, and make those articles on LinkedIn.
What HubSpot calls a pillar page.
Yes. Because then you can say, if you'd like a complete resource, if you'd like complete details or whatever, then you link directly to that content on your website. So now on that website, on that page, now you have to have a lead capture on that on that blog. It can't just be, here's the info, see you later.
Yep.
You've got to have a lead capture specifically and treat that like a funnel to get people into it.
Which could be as simple as allowing them to print the whole article cleanly.
Yes.
Right? That you're sending it to them as a PDF. Or that there's some additional resource beyond what you've put in that they can opt in to have emailed to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? So we use Drip for email marketing, and they'll give you a trigger link for a form that you can put anywhere. It doesn't work as slick when you can't verify the domain. I think you could actually write in the article, put that link, like if you want to learn how we did it or get this X, Y, or Z, click this, and it can be a hyperlink. It would open up in like a boring form looking thing. But I think that would actually be a solution to get an email opt-in. Don't call me, I'd have to test it. I think you could do that right from the article, actually.
That'd be worth testing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Try that out.
There's a few different resources like that you can use. If you have one that auto connects right up to your CRM, obviously that'd be the best.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, like a HubSpot link.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. You could also do if you've got a company page article that's really cranking out on exposure, you could put if you have a related event, there you could put it right at the top, put the link right to the event, just edit the article if it's relevant, so that there'd be interest, and then you get all the people from everywhere seeing that without you having to do extra work to promoting it. And then when the event's over, you have to remove the link and stuff. But
Now, what I haven't looked into that I need to is to see if you can boost articles. I know that you can boost specific content type or post types. I haven't tested, I haven't even looked really to see if you can boost an article. But if you can, then you can add your code from your ads account back to that website and get tremendous information from it.
Yep. Cool. All right, we're past the hour. Does anybody have any final emergency questions for Monty? That's it. Look at that. You explained it so well. No one has anything else to say.
Front to back.